All right, I want to make this pretty quick. I just want to do a video here where I go over a system and then so I can watch it and be like, oh, okay, so this still does work, or it still doesn't work. Oh, this doesn't make sense, and then I can look back on it. So in this case, we have a mean reversion system on NQ, 15-point increments, meaning the width of the zone is 15 points. The goal of the system is risking 7R to make 1. This is a mean reversion system, so we double down on losers and we trail our target. And this is the opposite of what people might expect to win. But I tell you right now, a lot of times that market mean reverts. A lot of times that NQ mean reverts, and it makes money mean reverting. Now, what's different about this system compared to the system that I'm about to run right now? I'll tell you. This is the system right now. And now I'm gonna run the code for taking all the trades. Taking all the trades. Okay. So we start taking trades and then we just stop taking them at 14:30. It's not a big deal there. Okay, that's it. That's all she wrote. That's all I want to do here. Send it. So basically now I'm going to show you apples to apples what the difference is. Okay. So in general, that's what the system does. It mean reverts, doubles down on losers, trails target. Now I want to show you the results. Here are the results for the month. We got 10 grand in January. February we lose, or this is year to date, sorry. Made 10 grand. Lost 3,400 in February, lost 6,200 in March, lost 20 grand in April. We know April was crazy. April is the most volatile month of the year by far. And it just makes sense that the mean reversion system doesn't make money during that time, and that's the truth. It lost 20 grand during that time. May, it made 27 grand as it was going away from that volatility. It was going deep into a mean reversion state, and we made hand over fist that month. June, 23 grand made. July, 13 grand made. August, 13 grand made. September, 28 grand in the last month. For a grand total year to date of $86,000 profit. That is just insane. Now, how much commissions do you pay? I'll tell you right now. It's a lot of commissions. Just from June to September, which is 4 months, we paid $17,000 in commissions. 1, 2, 3. Remember that this commissions has already been taken out of the profits. So that means this commissions has already been paid. If I was the broker, or if I had connections where the broker doesn't charge me or something, I would have been making all this plus 17 grand. So, I mean, we made 79,000 since June. That system did. I just find that, how is this believable? Is this believable? Well, that's what I'm trying to think of right now. The commissions, we pay a lot. I overbear the commissions. I overdo the commissions on my settings where I pay a bunch of commissions. I better be winning. There better be edge to win. Otherwise, it's going to be looking negative because commissions. And in this case, it's ridiculously profitable. And I'll tell you why. The frequency, bro. The frequency is insane. The frequency is about 1,000 trades a month. About 1,000 trades per month. So that's just a lot of trades, obviously. And I want to say that the trades are broken apart. So to me, one trade is risking 7 to make 1, but then you scale in. If it goes against you, you scale in again if it goes against you to bring your target closer. Hopefully you can escape with a win. And if not, if it runs your stop, you lose 7R. But that trade that I just described is like 4 trades. Because you scale in, You enter first, you scale in twice, so that's 3, and then your exit. So they say the trade's 1,000. It says 1,000, but it's really a lot less than that. They count each scale in as another trade. And then I wanted to say how fast this market goes. Well, I'll tell you that I do have trade limiters on where the speed must be less than 3. So 3 increments a minute is pretty damn fast. So I could bring that down to 2 and say, all right, we can't trade unless it's under 2. I could do that. I can tell you right now, 15 points on the NASDAQ very rarely gets a speed over 3. I can look at the speed. I do want to look at that speed. 15 points on the NASDAQ. 2.5% of the time, it's a greater than 2.5 speed. I mean, so only probably 2 to 5% of the time we can't be trading because it's just moving too fast. And then in the code automatically says, nah, I'm not trading during that time, because we auto update the speed every single increment, every single speed. We evaluate that speed again. That's why it's taking a very, very long time to run this system. See, it's still going. Oh, is it done? No, it's still running. So basically, yeah. In general, all it does is mean revert from 9 a.m. to 14:30. I chose not to have 8:30 in there, and I chose not to have the last half hour of the day in there. I just want that big chunk of just time. Can we mean revert during this time? And I'll tell you, it looks like you do. It looks like you should mean revert. And the difference with this system, now this is the difference. We don't completely mean revert during that time. We stop mean reverting if there happens to be volatility. So on the day, we'll just quit the day. So I want to show you. Oh, I can't because it's still loading. But if there is, let's just take a look at today or yesterday. I'll show you yesterday. Here's the ledger for yesterday, 15 data right here. You can see that each one of these trades from 9 o'clock, each one of these, is a trade. We'll take every single one of these. So we win, and we lose. So we just made 19R, and then we lose one trade. Now we're up 12R. Okay. Now, if it ever goes, so it was 19, right? If it ever starts to become volatile, this trading system stops on the day. It starts at 9, we'll mean revert. We just made 19R. Okay, you lose that one, so you're down. So it's 7 against you because 19's your high. And then we win a few, and then bam, another 7R against us. So now it's negative. Now it's 9. So now it's 10R different, because I was at positive 19R. Now I'm positive 10. I'm positive 10. Right? From 19 to 9 is 10. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Basically, I'm just saying that I got to change this to positives. It's just easier, because I never trail my stop the other way around. All right, let's do this. So I'm 19. So 19 minus 14 is 5. So if it ever goes down to 5, and it doesn't yet, and then bam, it does right there. So you stop. At 12:30, you end trading, and that's exactly what the system did. We still made money during that day, barely, but we still made money, I think. Yeah, we made 2R. So about a break-even day. But you can tell that it was mean reverting, and then bam, it starts getting these 7Rs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the span of an hour. that's extreme volatility to me. No, it's not fast. No, I mean, it takes 15 minutes to complete the trade, but still, just because it's not fast doesn't mean it's not volatile, because it can move in straight directions, straight lines. And with a mean reversion system such as this one, we don't want it to move in straight lines. We want it to wiggle around. The more wiggling, the more money. The more wiggling, the more money. If it does move in trend, a small term trend in one direction, we lose. And that's what it did from noon until 1 p.m. on Friday. It moved in straight directions, and it destroyed the system. However, the cool thing about it is we stop at 12:30, because as soon as we start noticing some of these trends, this system stops. It stops. And that's why we see profit in this system. And I want to show what if I didn't stop. What would be the profit if I didn't stop? And I haven't actually seen this graph yet. I'm guessing it's going to be worse. If it's better, oh my gosh. All right. So this is the system if I'm constantly trading it, regardless of if it sees volatility. Now, what's the difference? Well, you take 2,800 trades. This one you take 3,800 trades since July. A lot of trades, yes, about 1,000 trades a month. So you take 800 more trades. So you take about 30% more trades, okay? You make about 15% more profit. So you take more trades, but you still are profitable, but you just don't win as much. But this happens to be during that come up. I mean, this was a fantastic, just a really, really fantastic period of time that this traded. If we want to see negative, we can look at April. I mean, April destroyed us in the system. So even if you lose in April, but the good thing about it is, I'll tell you right now, if I had no cutoff during April, I guarantee that this loss would be way, way more than 20 grand. Guarantee you. Because it just moved. And if you held on, there's no stopping it. In this case, I like the system, even though I was expecting really different results, but it seems very similar. I was expecting, I don't know. I'm just saying that I like the cutoff where we just stop on the day. If it ever happens to spark flame, I'm out. See ya. I'm done. Just like at 12:30. Just like at 12:30 on Friday. Boom. I'm out. All right. We see too much volatility. All right. I'm done. It just stopped right there. It just stopped. Stop taking it. Yeah, you could have traded the entire time until 14:30, which was our system. How much do you make? You lose 7R. Okay, we escaped on 7R on Friday. That helps. I mean, that helps. But, and we can adjust that. We can adjust that, certainly. But overall, I think it's a good system. Do we pay too much commissions? That is the question I'm asking myself. Let's see how many commissions are paid. $23,000 in commissions. This is absurd. You're paying a broker 23 grand. That's absurd. However, you still net 68 grand. That's my point. Like, at what point do we say that this doesn't make sense? Obviously, if you're losing during the system and the commissions are like that too, you'd be just destroying your account. So if you lose at the same time as you're paying all these commissions, I mean, it's just horrible. I mean, what's the worst case drawdown? From 38 grand all the way down to 20. So that means 20 grand drawdown during this period of time. You made 60. Yep, you made 60, but you experienced a 20 grand drawdown. Now, commissions are already included in this. If I didn't include commissions, we would be at 100 grand right now, or 90. If I didn't include commissions. So, yeah. But we have to understand that. I mean, I'd rather trade once and make 68 grand. Trust me. But it's probably hard to do that. That's why this system trades fucking, how many is this? 3,600 trades. But we know that that's not actually real. I mean, I scale in. This is a scaling strategy that scales in and then exits. So the scale ins are like 3. So you divide that by 3 and you're still taking 1,000 trades, real trades. But anyways, is this system tradable? Look, I don't know what you want. I mean, I want to make this much money without taking that many trades, without that risk of commission, without, I mean, everybody wants money without risk, but what's wrong with this system? I mean, since May, it made that much money. Is this reality? Yeah. I mean, I use limit orders. In fact, I'm worried that simulated trading won't translate to real money trading. I put my orders 1 tick before. You can see this limit order 1 tick before it. So plus tick. So I take money off of my profit trading this system. I take a tick away every single time because I'm worried that the limit order in the simulator gets filled, but the limit order in real life doesn't. That's why I put it a tick before it. So we should and then also it's limit orders. Limit orders don't have slippage. So I'm doing limit orders for most of the time. About 12% of the time we have a stop order because our win rate is very high. Because it's risking 7 to make 1. So we only use stop orders with slippage. Slippage has stop orders. Or stop orders have slippage. The only time I find slippage is on stop orders. So I don't know. I don't include slippage, no, because it does mess up. It messes up the simulated process. Because it arbitrarily sets your slippage, and that's not what that actual market did. It's confusing, but it F's up my system if I put slippage in there. But that's why I put a tick away. I don't know. I mean, how much slippage are you really going to get? The market's not going that fast. That's my point. This is 15-point movement. So if you want to look at the chart, let's look at a chart just so we can see in general what the hell that looks like. Let's take this one. For example, I just want to see what the hell it looks like. Give me a 30-minute chart. I think the most popular chart, I don't know what it would be, probably an hourly chart, but I don't care. I like the 30-minute. So what's 15 points anyways? How big does it really even look? 15 points on the Nasdaq-adelic. Right there. That is very small, bro. That is very small. Those are that's how big. I'll tell you right now, that's how big my zones are. Those tiny little boxes. That's how small my zones are. How fast does it move? Ugh, I gotta open this up again. Oh, never mind. I have it right here. So just on afternoon, we take a trade at 12:05. We lose at 12:06. 12:06, we take another trade. We lose at 12:07. Then that one goes for a trend. It lasts 8 minutes. It goes on another trend. It lasts 15 minutes, lasts 2 minutes, lasts 13 minutes. So you can see that's the speed. That's what we get. And the speed. I have a system of finding speed, and it's a 0.5 increments per minute. So 0.5, I can do that. Like me and my mouse here, I can do that. I can keep up doing that. It's hard, but I can keep up. And an algorithm can keep up a lot faster. So I think the speed is fine. The only thing I'm worried about it being too fast. And if it's too fast, we stop trading. That's my cutoff. So it goes over 3, it's over. We're done trading, or not done, but we stop trading until it calms down. That's another point that I want to make is how can we relate this to real life? I have speed cutoffs. I think that's important because a lot of people can look at a system and on the simulated profits it looks really good, but in real life it does not work because it goes too fast. That's what I did. I remember bean oil 745. So 745, it creates a range. It's closed from 745 to 830, and I have a range there. And then 830, the breakout works so well. Statistically, it works fantastic. In the simulated, it works fan-frickin-tastic. But in real life, I traded one contract of bean oil. I get freaking 9 ticks of slippage at 830. So it destroys the process. What was a 3R is now like a 1.5R, and now it's a 1-to-1 risk reward or whatever. It's just destroys my risk reward, makes my risk even bigger, makes my reward smaller. Freaking, it destroys the system, and that's slippage. And the thing is with this system, it has slippage, of course, on the market orders. I can't verify how much it'll have. I cannot verify that. I can tell you NQ is one of the most liquid futures in the world. From 9 a.m. to 1430, this is what it trades. So it trades during the heart of the day. That is just when the market makers are there. That is when the volatility or the liquidity is at its highest, is during this time. We omit trading when it's too fast. I mean, there's not much else you can do to know if this will work in the real life. There's just not much else you can do. But I can say that it looks really, really, really good. And you can see the daily loss ledger. We at most will risk $5,000 in the day. You can see our max loss in the day is 4,800. I'm continuing to scroll. We never lose more than that because, like I said, if this thing starts to become volatile, we just stop. The system just cuts off. Oh, and this one's not. This one's just continually trading. So 8,900 here. Those are the days that we will omit. In this one, I don't want to rerun it, but this one doesn't have that. So yeah, I mean, how does it win then? It just has a bunch of $2,000 days. This one, September 5th, what the hell happened September 5th? How do you make $15,000? I just don't buy that. I don't buy that. How do you make $15,000 and $300 profit each trade? I mean, come on. $15,000 divided by 300, how many trades is that? 50 wins? How? This is happening too fast, September 5, I guarantee you. So we get a signal at 9 a.m. We start trading. We just go back and forth and we win. Filthy. 1.1 is the speed. Yep. 1.5, yep. Win, keeps on winning. 1.9 is the speed. It is going super fast. So that means we're getting in at 9:29, getting out at 9:30, getting in at 9:30, getting out at 9:32. 2-minute trades, 1-minute trades. 1-minute trades, 0-minute trades. That means we get in and out and then back in again in the same minute. That's not possible? Well, I've done it with my own my own trading before. So an automated system can do that. But it's getting close to being too fast. So it's a 1.7 speed right now. It's getting too close. It's getting very close to being too fast. And then That's the top of the speed at 2.2. That's the top of the speed, and then it drops down to 0.9, and then a lot easier to trade. Oh, that's why September 5th would have been cut off. It would have been cut off because it trends here. I see a 3 and a 4 right there. It would pick that up and say, nah, no more. So, but then it starts mean reverting from 10 a.m. Oh my gosh. It has a lot of mean reversion all the way until noon. In the afternoon, the speed drops from 2 to 0.3 to 0.4. Speed drops off, starts mean reverting for a long time, and then it goes just sideways for an hour. I mean, each one of those is a win. So 0.3 speed, that's fine. I believe it. I believe that. I have kept up when the speed is not a 2. I can't keep up at that, but 1. I can keep up at 1.5. But the speed for a period of time, 9:25 to about an hour. It was too fast for a human, and I don't think too fast for an automated system. But yeah, I see that. Is it believable? I mean, we're using limit orders. Man. We won't get that slippage. That's a huge deal. That's a huge deal. Our entries and our exits are limit orders, except when we get stopped out. And that entire time from 9:30 to 9:45, all those trades, we never got stopped out, ever. Not once, because it never trended. It moved sideways the entire time. It just wiggled a shit ton. I wish I could do this in live market and just experiment to see if truly you can capture that and see the profit and loss. Can you capture that? Can you capture something so fast like that? Is this believable? I think it is. I really do. I've done it in Top Step, where those are simulated fills, but they obviously try to make them as realistic as possible because they don't want people abusing the sim fill. So I trust it. And anyways, I get in a tick before the profit target anyways. So that means, or I get out a tick before it anyways. So price, this is very realistic in terms of fills. I think so. Yes. Yeah. So overall, I just think that paying 17 grand commissions for a 60 grand profit, you still net 60 grand, but I mean, just imagine that, man. I mean, that's just rough. You're going to pay commissions, but I find it a little bit easier to just pay 2 grand in commissions for half a year or a quarter. This is just a quarter. So I find it a little bit easier to just pay 2 grand, but it's hard to make all this money with such little trades, such little amount of trades. This is trading this often and it makes this much money, which I don't know. I just think that there is inherent edge to mean reversion. There's a reason why the data comes in hot on NQ and ES, where they're more mean reverting. They're more sideways than any other market that I've ever tested. ES and NQ are more. Crude oil is the most trendable. Gold is trendable on the higher time frame. Even on the higher time frame, ES and NQ are not trendable. They're just break even in terms of adding to winners, trailing or stop. In terms of fluidity of price movement, fluidity means to go straight up, to go up, 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 up. That is a fluid one line movement. That is a trend. And the higher time frames do trend better than the smaller time frames on the ES and NQ, and actually all symbols. That is similar in all symbols, but it's substantially different on ES and NQ. You get 0.2 R per trade on the smallest time frames of ES. It goes too fast 25% of the time. I'm not going to be able to take that, but we're taking one step underneath it. We're taking one step right here. We're doing NQ 15-point increments right now on this system, where 2.5% of the time it goes too fast. So this is actually slow. If you ever see a 15-point movement and your eyes are glued to the screen like I do sometimes, it actually doesn't move too fast. It really actually doesn't. So yeah, 15. I want to go to. I just want to see how big of an increment this is on the 5-minute chart. 45 to 30. That's the movement. That's one increment. Really? That's 15 points. It was a bigger range on Friday or what? Yeah, it is. That's what the increments are. Oops. That's it. You know, those are the increments. So this down move would have lost. And I think at 12:30 we stopped. Yeah, at 12:30 it became too volatile. That's awesome. 12:30 it cut off right there. Bam, it got cut off. So we didn't trade the remainder cuz it was decent chop for the most part on Friday, and that's what the system just eats up. It just eats up this chop. Just yum, 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 yum. And then boom, it breaks it. And like, all right, we're done. We're out. Pulls the plug on the entire day. It's a cautious mean reversion system. I actually like that a lot. It just stops on the entire day. It doesn't even think again. I love it. But anyways, on NQ, ES is the most mean reverting at 0.15 R per trade. 0.15 R per trade. And that's why we see this thing go up. In my opinion, that's why we see this go up, because gravitational force is towards mean reversion on these smaller time frames. It's towards chop. And if we can cough up the commissions, I mean, I get half off commissions. Does that make any difference? Maybe. I don't know, bro. I'm just trying to determine if this is realistic or not. That's all. Sure, yeah, I can go out to the 25 points. I mean, I can go out 50 points. I mean, that's going to be way more realistic. 15 points is really small. Say you go out 50 points and run the same system, you're not going to get nearly as good results, because on the 15-point movements, it's so much easier for price to be going sideways within a smaller range. It's just so much easier. I don't really know why, but at the end of the day, like, I can understand it, because if price really moves, it's going to affect more people's positions. And if price doesn't really move, then it doesn't actually affect many people's positions. So that's why it does go sideways on the smaller time frames better. And that's why we want to get as close to the smaller time frame as possible when mean reverting, but not too close to where commissions and slippage destroy us. And at that point, this is where we're at right now. We don't actually know if it's feasible. We don't know. I have speed cutoffs. I have volatility cutoffs. I have I'm using limit orders for entries and exits, except my stop order. I stop market out. So we only get slippage about 12% of the time, but it's also during our high capacity. So with this system, we do double down on losers. So that means when we do get eventually stopped out, we're going to be holding a bag. We're going to be holding 4 contracts instead of 1. So this slippage may affect that order more. So what I'm saying is that there really is no way to determine if this is realistic or not until you try it. Because we can't estimate that slippage. There is no way to estimate that slippage on those stop orders. And we have to put a dollar sign attached to that. Okay. Will it affect it so much? Well, about 10% of the time you do get stopped out. Okay. 10% of the orders you will get stopped out. Is it going to change this so drastically from 60 grand profit to negative, I mean, I find that hard to believe because it only affects 10% of the trades because we do have a sub 90% win rate. That's what the system is. So I don't know. There's no way of knowing, bro. Unfortunately. We can go way smaller time frame than this, so at least we're out to 15-point width. At least we're out to 2.5 to 5% of the time it's too fast for us. So, but I still don't know slippage, and I won't know slippage. So we don't know slippage, unfortunately. Can you trade this on micros? Yeah, you can. But micros commissions blows, bro. Micro commissions are, it's supposed to be 1/10 of the cost, right? A mini versus a micro. A micro is 1/10 of the position size of a mini, yet you pay 1/3 of the commissions. That's just really, really bad commissions. So I really don't want to ever trade micros. But I suppose for testing, it's probably a good idea. Yep. So that's where we're at there. And then I want to do a small review of my account. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 systems running. 3 systems haven't even taken a trade yet. I've only started. It's only been a week. We're up 6% just in the mean reversion system. This is not the one I'm talking about right now, but a specific pre-market mean reversion that you see this graph, this is only during the day to be able to take advantage of the intraday margin rates. This one takes from 5 a.m. in the pre-market all the way into market open, it stops. So it trades up to that, and I tell you what, it has killed it. It made 6% right there. Just absolutely killed it. Hold on. Yeah. Absolutely killed it there. But we're up $6,000. We're up 6% in the simulated account. Hoping for the best. I'm going to keep on running that. That's why I'm saying I don't think I'm going to include this system in there because it's going to take over. It trades so frequently. So, yeah. Bottom line, you think it's going to work? I think it's highly risky. Takes so many trades. It's very, very... we just don't know the slippage. Even if I run it on the simulator, I still won't believe it. So what's the point of running it on the simulator? So I could trade micros. That's what I would do. I would trade this with micros. And if we win, if we make money trading this with micros, paying that lopsided of commissions, that wins. Then it works. And micros have more slippage than the mini. The mini has much more volume. Many times more. So, yeah, if it works on micros, I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to test this real money in with micros. Where are you at, micros? Yeah. So, basically, I'm going to test real money with micros to see slippage and a good test. The real problem here, is that it it has a lot of commissions. It has about 0.33, so 33% of your profits are commissions, and slippage may be a factor. I think we should test real money with micros to see slippage in a really good test. and very, very minimal amount of money. How much money do you need to test this in micros? It's very small. You need $333, so let's call it $350 times 4 contracts. You need a $1,400 in the account to control it, but you're going to need some drawdown and wiggle room, so I'd probably double that, or if not triple that, $4,200. Yeah, $5,000 in your account to be able to run this with micros. So that's a really good test, very low risk test. I think that's important. That's what we're going to do. I think I would like to do that. That would be a really, really important test. And then that would help me in pretty much all categories. All right. That's about it. Yeah, I don't think it's... I don't know. I find it hard to believe that it makes $60,000 in freaking in a graph like that just so consistently. But you know what? The data says so. The freaking data says so. All over the place, the data says so. My speed analysis, where it's a smaller time frame on the equity index, it does say the same thing. So everything's pointing to mean reverting on small time frames, and I think that's the move. So I think that we should probably test it on the real money and see if that can happen. So I think I'm going to do this in a test. I think that's what we're going to do. Yep. Interesting. All right. Interesting. All right, mate. Peace be with you. On to the next, mate. See you later.